There's been a lot of talk about buyer agency post-NAR settlement. But what I want to talk about today is the huge lies and misconceptions that are out there about being a buyer's agent and what you can do to make sure that you're maximizing these opportunities. You know, what can happen sometimes is we can have a news cycle that continues, or we get talking about something, it gets taken to the extreme. And that's what I believe has actually been happening with buyer agency. It's been construed as one thing, and there's a lot of lies and misinformation out there about what you should be doing as an agent, and also the opportunities that are there as a buyer's agent. So what I want to do today is I'm going to break down some of these lies, some of these misconceptions that I see, and hopefully this reframes this in a way that you get excited about working with buyers again in a way that helps you propel your business. The first one that I see that has actually been taken to the extreme is that you hear people say it's all about listings. Listings control the market. Listen, if you really think about this, it takes two to tango. You need a listing and you need a buyer for that house that has been listed. So think about it this way. Yes, it does give you the control of your time if you're on the listing side, but it does come with its own set of problems as well, especially when we're in an environment where we're seeing the average days on market continue to rise across the country. We're seeing inventory begin to go back. We're coming more to a normalized market, and there's a reason why we have these cross arms that we have to use post hole diggers to stick down these signs, these real estate signs in the ground, is because in a normal market, it's going to be there for a little while. It's going to need to weather some storms. It's going to take some time. So understanding that it's not just about being on the listing side, and don't discount the opportunities that are on the buyer side. Again, it comes down to how do you communicate your value, how do you set the tone, and how do you, as a professional, walk someone orderly through the process of finding a home, getting it under contract, getting it closed, and servicing them after the sale. When you do all of those things in the right way, it is a business that is something that can just continue to grow in your business, because those buyers that you have ultimately become your listings in the future. The second lie I see out there, which is really demeaning to be honest, is that buyers are liars. Now, here's the thing. People are people, and there are going to be some that are not going to tell you the whole truth. But ultimately what I found is the majority of the agents that say buyers are liars are those that don't ask good enough questions to understand what the true needs are for their buyers, or they don't communicate their value enough in a way that these folks end up drifting off and finding another agent that they feel is going to serve them at a higher level. So come from a place of understanding. It's kind of a bad place to come from if you're going to start a relationship with thinking someone is a liar. So come from a place of understanding that if I ask the right questions, if I provide the right service, and if I follow up with consistent communication, then absolutely this is a relationship that's going to be built on trust, and it's going to be a relationship that's going to be built for the long run, not just in this transaction, but future referrals and multiple forms of business into the future as well. The third lie that I hear out there is that buyer side commissions will be going down. Now let me frame this a little bit. I believe as a whole, absolutely, I believe buyer side commissions are probably going to go down. But for professional agents, I think there might even be a situation where the buyer side commissions actually go up. Because what's going to happen is the true professionals, the people that understand how to communicate their value, the people that understand how to negotiate for the value they bring to the transaction, will probably be the ones that are doing more of these transactions. So as we go forward, yes, I believe if you were just going to take the averages, then yes, you're probably going to see on average the buyer side commissions go down. But if you're a professional agent, if you learn how to service these buyers at a higher level, and you learn how to communicate your value, and you're willing to go out and do the things it takes to receive a higher commission, I believe there will absolutely be value seen in those folks, and actually for some, the commissions will actually go up. The fourth lie I see out there is that buyers will not pay their agent's commission. It's just simply not true. We've seen this in a number of states for a number of years. We're in Florida where this has not been something that we have really faced or we've been dealing with as far as buyer agency until post-NAR settlement. But what we are seeing now is that if you have a client that trusts you, if you have the ability to show them how it actually is to their benefit to have that professional agent, they will absolutely be willing to pay for those services. You have to understand that there are certain people that see things as expenses, and there are certain people that see things as value. Price is what you get, value is what you receive, and so you have to understand that you have to come from a place of being able to communicate that value. And when you do, absolutely, when it's seen and understood, people are more than willing to pay to have someone represent them in the biggest transaction that most of them will have in their life. The next lie here is that there will be a mass exodus of agents from real estate based on these changes in the business. Now, listen, I've been through this now 30 years. We will absolutely probably see less agents in real estate this time next year than we see this year. But it's not just because of what we're seeing in the post-NAR settlement and now having to be able to communicate your value. What is happening is that this is the natural part of the cycle. When the business is really good like it was during the pandemic and transactions are up and money seems to be easy, in that situation, you absolutely see a rush of agents that come in every single time when you're in that portion of the economic cycle. When you see things change and transactions go down and the business becomes something that is a little more difficult and you're not just going to have to be able to be an order taker, so to speak, then absolutely you're going to see people leave the business. Now, will this affect the number of people that leave the business? Absolutely. But will there be additional people that will be attracted to the business, especially as we come into the recovery of this cycle, because where we are today is not where we will be. It would be naive to think that spring doesn't come after winter. There will be a time when the business begins to take off again. But what we will see in the short run, and we see each and every economic cycle at this time, is we will see less agents probably this time next year than we see today, but it won't just be because of the NAR settlement. The next lie here is that this change in the NAR settlement is actually going to ruin this business. I couldn't disagree anymore on that point, because here's what we've seen, and I've been through these things so many times now in my 30-year career. Yes, there will be disruption. There's always disruption in every industry. This is absolutely a change in the way that business will be done. But let me tell you this, winners always win and losers always lose. There will be a changing of the guard, so to speak, for those that are not flexible enough to be able to understand what they need to do differently to provide value in the marketplace in a way that will be rewarded. So absolutely, yes, we will see some change in the business. And we'll probably see some months here towards the end of 2024 where it's a little bit messy. People are just trying to figure it out. The market's trying to figure it out. But ultimately, what we will see is not something that will ruin this industry. What we will actually see, in my opinion, is that we'll see an increased professionalism will actually be better for the consumer and for the professional agent. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Last but not least, what I hear from a lot of people is that these changes will make it harder to earn a living in real estate moving forward. Now, let me say this. These changes will make change in how you earn a living, but for those that adapt, it will actually create the opportunity to find efficiencies in this business that I believe in the long run is going to help you have the opportunity to continue not just to make money, but to be able to make more money in this business as we see a couple things happen. Listen, here's where we are in the cycle. I'm just going to speak specifically to that right now, and then I'll come into this that we're really talking about. But basically what we're seeing is over the last year, we've seen transactions go down. We've also been seeing a time where the number of agents are going down. What we're also beginning to see, at least in our local market, is we're seeing a flattening, and we are anticipating a normalization the next, whenever it might be, the end of this year, spring of next year, after this election, whatever you want to think. But coming in the future, we will see transactions begin to go up. Now, historically speaking, if you look back, before that actually ends and you start seeing that coming up, you're going to continue to see, as we talked about a little bit earlier, at this point in the cycle, we'll see less agents. So what's going to happen is from where we are today, and when we get back to normal numbers of transactions or increased numbers of transactions from where we are, we're going to have a bigger pie. What we're also going to see is the number of agents will come down. So consequently, we're going to have a bigger pie with less people taking pieces of that pie, which means they're going to get bigger pieces. So going forward, understand this. There will be change. Will it be difficult in the short run? Absolutely. For some, it'll be more difficult than others. But those that are flexible, those that focus in on the clients and servicing them at the highest level possible will always be rewarded. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.